Hi, and welcome back to the continuation of the Midnight to Morning video series that focuses on the next 2,000 years in the life of the Bride of Christ, where she is headed and why. We have been discussing the opening of the Bottomless Pit, which will usher in a 1,000-year period when the beast that was is no longer. Notice on the Key of Seven Thunders that this entire millennium occurs at the point where red light gives way to purple light. To understand the spiritual significance of the land of purple light, we need to return to the storytelling template of Genesis 1. Now recall that the priestly writers of Genesis 1 used the 7 visible colors in the rainbow to structure their story of creation. Now, since the priestly writers of Genesis 1 began the story of creation with violet light and ended the story with red light, the color purple ended up representing the 7th day, the Sabbath day, or God's holy day of rest. Now, purple is an extra spectral color that becomes visible because red light energy in the 700 nanometer range of the spectrum merges with violet blue light energy in the 400 nanometer range of the spectrum. In other words, a combination of red and blue light energy does all the work to create purple light. No additional energy is needed in the creation of the color purple in the spectrum. Now, the ancient writers of Genesis 1 would not have known that the science of light supports the idea of a day of rest. But thanks to Isaac Newton, we do understand that science today. So when the Sabbath day dawned 15,000 years ago, no extra energy was spent as humans lived in the land of purple light for 8,400 years. All that was necessary was a continual connection between the human mind and heart in the red range of light and God's divine light and breath in the violet blue range of light. This is the most primary, most fundamental, most important spiritual truth that the 7 thunders reveal. If connection is lost between the human mind and heart in the red range of light and God's divine light and breath in the violet blue range of light, purple light vanishes. It simply doesn't exist. This is why people say that humanity fell into darkness on the 7th day or the Sabbath day, or that our species fell away from the light. Losing purple light is like falling into a bottomless pit to nowhere. And along with the loss of light, the spiritual gifts of dominion and freedom were twisted. They got morphed into the darkness of domination and control. So when the 8th day of creation dawned, God's Spirit needed to begin the process of restoration, redemption, and salvation to win back what was lost. Now, the process began in the violet blue range of light with the work of separating light from dark, just like the first day of creation. The only difference between the first and the 8th days is that the human mind and heart is where the separation between light and dark is presently occurring. Now, the micro-time story of the Exodus out of Egypt, which freed the children of Israel from the domination and control of Pharaoh's oppressive government, guided the Israelites to a promised land, a land of milk and honey known as Canaan, nicknamed the land of purple because of the purple dye extracted from a certain shellfish along Canaan's coastal waters of the Mediterranean Sea. The micro-time exodus to a promised land foreshadows the macro age-to-age journey that the whole of humanity has been taking to reach the land of purple light on this 8th day. Now, one by one, every individual can connect with God's divine light and energy 24/7. Nothing prevents us as individuals from living in the land of purple light and enjoying a right relationship with the spiritual gifts of dominion and freedom. But the whole of humanity is currently on this slow spiritual journey toward a restoration of purple light, which will accelerate as humanity moves beyond the midnight hour on the 8th day. Now, the story of the Exodus includes the pattern of a tabernacle and its 4 coverings over the tabernacle. These 4 coverings also foreshadow humanity's 8th day exodus out of darkness into the light, as they represent the 4 ages on the 8th day of creation. Looking at the coverings from the outermost to the innermost, we find a nondescript animal skin, followed by a covering of ram skin dyed red, representing the age of animal sacrifice and the blood of the Passover lamb. And then we find the goat hair covering, representing the 2 goats, one sacrificed and one set free to carry the sin of humanity away. But the innermost covering was not made from an animal. It was made from cotton fibers spun into the finest linen threads that were then dyed purple, blue, and scarlet. The colored threads represent the spiritual connection that must occur between the human mind and heart in the red range of light and God's divine light and breath in the violet blue range of light, so that purple light is created. This same connection occurs continually within the human body, as blue deoxygenated blood in the veins is exchanged for red oxygenated blood in the arteries. So with every breath and with every heartbeat, our own body becomes a promised land, a land of milk and honey, a purple land where the gifts of dominion and spiritual freedom can be realized. Now, living in the land of purple light is all about repairing, redeeming, and restoring the spiritual connection between the human mind and heart and God's divine life-giving energy of light and love. And the risen Christ is guiding his bride toward the land of purple light. Next up, the measuring rod in Revelation 11. See you then.